But speaking of out of control, let's start talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, episode 2 of the new season. So guys, we're Star Trek fans, and on Salty Saturday, we covered in detail the entire first season of Strange New Worlds. It was a mixed bag. I tended to think that the first season of Strange New Worlds was okay, nothing special, but better than anything we had gotten up to that point from Kurtzman Trek. And this season, we're 2 episodes in, and I'm kind of, like, I still think it's okay, but it's kind of like a level down from okay that the first season was so far. This episode got a lot of criticism because it's a lot of talking. Like, there's no actiony, interesting, exploring strange new worlds. It's basically a courtroom drama. It's a David E. Kelly episode, basically. And it's all about Una's trial for being genetically modified, which doesn't make any sense to begin with, but whatever. So we get a lot of monologuing this episode. And honestly, like, I was watching this when I was kind of like sick with a stomach bug. And so I was drifting in and out of consciousness as I was watching it. And I don't think I really missed anything while I was like, out of it. But my take on this episode was like, it was meh. It was like, whatever. Like, It didn't feel like a Star Trek episode. It just felt like a filler episode. And I think that this is kind of systemic with anything that Akiva Goldsman is involved with, because Strange New World is really Akiva Goldsman's baby. And if the rumors are true, he's the one who Kurtzman has kind of outsourced the bulk of Star Trek to. So we can thank most of the bad decisions to Academy Award winner Akiva Goldsman, who also wrote Batman and Robin, by the way.
Yes.
So Gary, I'd like to know, what was your take on the second episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds?
I did not watch it. That was
There's your take.
I watched the first episode. I hate what they're doing. They're making Spock autistic.
Yeah.
That, like, I have so many fucking problems with that. Excuse my language. I have so many problems with that. But I can't get through it, dude. Plus I'm watching Secret Invasion, which is just really hurting my brain cells enough.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a bit too.
Oh, sorry, I didn't watch it, but
no, it's all right. I don't blame you.
We have a video coming out tomorrow called "They Don't Know Spock," which I think you'll enjoy, Gary, because we're with you, man. This is they're really doing some terrible things. Now, the good news is after episode 3, perhaps you'll be able to put your mind at ease that the world is a different place, and that we're not actually living in the correct universe. But you're right; they're just destroying Spock. Spock is now an emotional, dumb character. If you go back, Spock was a legend. Spock, TOS Nimoy Spock is just the greatest character. He's like number 20 on all pop culture characters of all time. And the fact that they've made him the laughing stock, the butt of the joke of this series, the comic relief in episode 2, which I will tell you, I believe is the best episode. And I've seen the first 6 episodes of this season, is the best episode in a season and a half of Strange New Worlds. Now, if that'll tell you anything, Matt, about how you feel about the rest of it. But I will say that, classically, Star Trek courtroom scenes have been good episodes. If you go back to Measure of a Man, and you go back to Court Martial and TOS, there are some really good court scene. And I do think that Yetiti did a good job coming in from American Gods. She had actually a good episode. I think it was pretty good. But Spock, what they're doing to him is just ridiculous. And he gets up on stand. He's the only character who gets up on the stand. And what do? He cracks a joke. I mean, come on, guys. What the fuck? Does Spock crack jokes in serious, dramatic situations? No, because Star Trek is a dramatic show. Like, it's got tinges of levity at the beginning and the ends of the program, but it's a drama. And they've turned Spock into this joke. And there's a whole scene where he's sitting down with the Vulcan JAG, right? And he's having this conversation, and you see Ortegas is kind of like, which is supposed to be a little funny.
Sorry for the outburst, yeah.
Yeah, and he comes over and says, sorry. Would Spock have said sorry for the outburst? No, he would have pretended like nothing happened. He would have come over, and Benga would have said, well, is everything okay over there? And what do you mean, doctor? What do you mean everything's okay? It would have been played off in that way, and Spock wouldn't be the butt of the joke. Spock would give it as well as he takes it. At the end of Journey to Babel, when Spock is his parents, we meet his parents for the first time in TOS and Journey to Babel. Nobody knows it's his parents. He doesn't even tell his crew members. When they show up on board, Kirk and Bones learn that, oh my God, the ambassador is Spock's parents. Like, it's this big shocker for all of us. It was a wonderful scene. At the end of that episode, right, Bones is trying to dig up dirt on Spock because Spock's always getting the better of him, right? He doesn't understand him. So he asks his mom, Amanda, he's like, when he was a kid, did he ever, do anything, run and play with other children? And she goes, well, he did have a fat teddy bear, right? And so Bones is getting this joke in on Spock, and he's like laughing at his expense. And what does Spock tell him? Well, yes, doctor, but my teddy bear was alive and had 6-inch fangs. So Spock gives it back to him. You see what I'm saying? In Strange New Worlds, Spock just stands there looking like a stupid idiot through most of the episodes. Just, oh, I guess you guys got me. It's just, really frustrates me.
I just actually watched that episode of the animated series because there's an episode of that where Spock goes back in time to interact with his young self, and it's an adventure with his giant teddy bear creature, and it's actually a pretty good episode. And young 10-year-old Spock in that show is much more put together and much more well aligned and Spock-like is in the cartoon than the, however old this Spock is in Strange New Worlds. It's really kind of funny now that I think about it. This series, I'm not one of these people that can sit there and tell you why I didn't like something or dislike something or whatever. All I can tell you is that just my feeling is that I did not like this episode. I watched Robert Meyer's video here last night, and he touched on things that kind of explain it. It's like they take things from other episodes and other series and other sci-fi shows and soap operas, and they just steal shit, right? And they put it in a show, and then they spit out something with a Star Trek label on it. And that's what this episode feels like. It's what it feels like. They've just taken bits and pieces from other courtroom dramas, and
they're all like that.
Form on it. And it's not good. It's really, really poorly put together. And I was also thinking last night, it's like we reviewed, like Matt said, we reviewed all of season 1 weekly on this show. And in the end, I ended up liking 7 out of 10 episodes of season 1. And that just means like I liked them better than I didn't. That doesn't mean they're A+ episodes or anything like that, but that's a 70% rating, right? So far this year we've gotten 2 episodes. So we've seen 12 episodes of Star Trek. So that 7 to 10 now is down to a 7 out of 12. 70% is a C. It's a C grade in school, right? 7 out of 12 is 58%. In my school growing up, that's an F, right? 58% is an F. So they are failing as overall as a whole from what we've seen so far as an overall Strange New Worlds as far as all their episodes go. And that's not good. They have to do better. So it's not good, man.
What was funny about this episode is that it was a better courtroom drama than anything She-Hulk produced.
Oh, well,
it was entirely about the courtroom.
But
Vader in our Patreon over at saltynerdclub.com, we actually did 12 episodes of Star Trek the original series where we did running commentary for them. And this episode really reminded me of the Menagerie parts 1 and 2, where basically, like Spock is on trial, Kirk's there at his court martial and stuff like that. So you mentioned stealing shit from other shows. It really felt like this was like a lift of the Menagerie, basically, without all like the intercuts from like the failed pilot. This show is weird, isn't it? It's like you want to like it. There are elements of it that are good, but there's just something holding you back from actually like committing to like liking it. I wanted to ask Shane, maybe it was just me, or did you get like really big like previous lesbian relationship vibes from Una and her lawyer? Because like they kept referring to like something that like they were friends and then something happened, they had a falling out, but it really felt like there was like some romantic connection there.
Yeah, this is the bullshit that they're constantly pulling, and Akiva's a big part of this. Picard season 2, throwback to Picard season 2, when Jerry Ryan and Michelle Hurd are a party, and all of a sudden one of the Jerry Ryan makes a joke and is like, oh yeah, we're lovers or whatever. It was just a fucking joke while they're drinking, right? And one of the writers goes, that's it, that's what we're gonna do. And of course what happens, we get Jerry Ryan and Michelle Hurd holding hands at the end of the final season of Picard season 1, right? And you're like, what the fuck was that? Okay, so now what do we have here in Strange New Worlds? We get this lingering handhold at the end of this episode, right, where it's like uncomfortably long. Like, as a director, even the biggest idiot directors, the guy who directed Rings of Power, like, he wouldn't have done this. Okay, they're holding hands for like 6 or 7 seconds, and it's like this lingering touch. And you know what's bullshit about it is they're doing it on purpose. It's pandering to the LGBTQ community. They don't want to go all the way there, but they want to give enough so that they can like get some cred points from that community. Throwing throwing in some like temporary trans characters that are throwaways, and doing a bunch of bullshit like that. So that's what it's about. It's about getting points and about being honest. Look, if you're going to make them lesbians, then do it. Have it from the beginning. The reason why Nira's pissed off at Una is because they were lovers when they were 16 years old, and now she left her and now she's pissed off at her. Okay, go with that if that's what the fuck you're going to do. Tell a good story. Have the characters develop if they're lesbians, and that's fine. Now I'm glad they're not, because Una's hot and I want to keep thinking of her that way, but they're pandering, and I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, you know what else is kind of bringing bullshit in my head, and Shane, you said they kind of fixed this later on in the season, but just how much everyone knows about Khan Noonien Singh, like how famous he is, and the fact that you have this descendant of his serving on the Enterprise under Spock, and then like when Space Seed comes around, Spock has no idea who this guy is.
It's classified. They'll probably make it classified, just like Discovery.
The only answer they have, right?
Yeah, but does this bother anyone else that they're just playing so fast and loose with canon?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's ridiculous. Spock doesn't have a clue as to who Khan is during Space Seed, and Uhura, who's on the ship as well, has no idea. I mean, it was stupid. It's funny. La'an's character is not a bad character. Christina Chong's a good actress. Give her any other last name and she's fine, but you make her a Noonien Singh, and you got to ask yourself a question like, okay, if you're Hitler's relative, like 250 years later, and you're still like upset about it, and you're worried about, and the world is obviously upset about it. Look, we have a whole courtroom drama that just happened as a result of the eugenic wars, right? So would you keep your last name as Noonien Singh? Like, at some point, somebody changes that shit, right? How many Hitlers are there out there? Anybody? I mean, even if you're a descendant, you're not going to keep the name. So it's just kind of typical dumb writing by the writer's room. They're trying to create some drama with the characters that doesn't necessarily need to exist. They could have done this character without this whole storyline, in my opinion.
All right, real quick, we got a couple of super chats to get to. We have Ryan for 20 euros. Leonard Nimoy is impossible to replicate. His voice, diction, and delivery is unique. I don't blame the actors. They're in an impossible situation. I actually think that the guy who plays the new Spock is actually pretty good. It's the writers who are giving him like kind of crappy material to work with, right?
Yeah, he was better in Discovery season 2 as Spock. If you go back and watch Discovery season 2, he's serious. People take him serious. He's respected. I mean, he's a completely different character, and I hated him in Discovery season 2 because he's Michael Burnham's brother. So I agree. It's Ethan Peck's fine, and it's classified. Ethan Peck's good. He's Gregory Peck's grandson. I mean, he's a fine actor. It's just the showrunner and the writers. Not everybody can be a good showrunner, apparently.
Yeah, he's just not very friendly at conventions, though, right?
Well, according to Brian, I guess he was kind of mean to him. So took his camera away.
He's got like weird privacy screens up and stuff. Bob Dorsey for $20. Saturday superstar Bob Dorsey himself. Why can't Anson Mount get good writing? He was killer in Hell on Wheels.
Yeah, he was.
Well, Hell on Wheels was good for like 2 seasons, and then it kind of like went off the rails. No pun intended. But Anson Mount is probably the best part of Strange New Worlds, if you ask me. Like, he just, as Pike, like, he seems like a good captain. I kind of wish that this was just like a new ship with a new crew that wasn't kind of like stuck in the past. Like this should have been post Next Gen. we should have had a new crew doing new adventures instead of going backwards.
I don't
like Spock could have been a different Vulcan. Like I would have just liked to have seen them free themselves up from this continuity issue that they have.
I don't feel like Pike has had anything to do so far in the first 2 episodes. He wasn't even in the first episode, except for the first 2 minutes. And then this episode, all he did was the first 5 minutes he went and got the lawyer, and then the rest of the episode, he sat there with the rest of his crew in the lunchroom and watched the TV and went, oh. And made some faces at the TV. That was it. That's all he did.
Well, you don't get him next week either. So
it almost feels like he was off shooting something else that he had to like.
He was having a baby. He was having a baby. So yeah, they and apparently they're not able to work around. This is the other thing that's dumb. Like when somebody's out making a TV show and they have something's going to happen, they're going to have a baby. Now, back in the day, we went back to work, but that's fine if he wants to take a few months off.
That's right. Men get 30 weeks of paternity leave now, right?
Yeah, that's
yeah. Well, but why not?
I went to work the day my baby was born.
Yeah.
I saw him get born, said peace out, and went to work.
Yeah, that kid's not going to remember anything. I mean, come on, go go take care of your business.
Like,
and
have you met your mom?
So they could have worked around his schedule, right? They could have, and because I think you need the show. The show doesn't exist without Anson Mount. Like Discovery season 2 came around, and they said, "Wow, this guy's fantastic. We need to do a Pike show." Okay, and so I mean, it's should be his show. He should be in it. And they're making a huge mistake. You don't get him until episode 4, where you get a real Anson Mount, specific episode. But
there's only 10 episodes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Ensemble cast for a 10-episode season. No, give us Spock, give us Anson Mount.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the Chapel Spock relationship shit. Spock is not a relationship guy. It's just, focus on science. What happened to the Strange New Worlds? Right, that's what the show is called. They're in space dock. They're in space dock for 6 episodes, guys.
They have a lot less money. That would be my.
That's the reason. That's the reason.
One thing I've always wondered in 50 years of Star Trek fandom or whatever, I've always wondered, and I'm so happy that they did this finally, is I always wondered how Spock learned to play his thing, his
lute.
Stop.
It's very
teasing me right now.
It was the best part. I've been wondering that for decades,
I've
man.
always
Decades.
How Spock learned how to raise his one eyebrow. I hope they do it.
Oh God, I hope they do that.
Effing episode. I freaking hate that. I don't care. You're right. I want Spock solving problems. That's what Star Trek does. It solves problems. It doesn't like go and have little relationship stuff and always. Oh my God, no!
I'm so upset. I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
He cries so much in the first episode.
Ridiculous.
He cries. No, dude. The thing is when he freaking sang in that short trek. That was.
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.